Everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at Lucid. The CEO of Lucid defends the $1.75 billion capital raise following stock drop. Lucid Group announced a public offering last week to raise roughly $1.75 billion US. CEO Peter Rawlinson said the raise was timely, strategic business decision to ensure the EV maker has enough capital for ongoing operations and growth plans. He told CNBC that investors should expect the move, saying it was misinterpreted and misreported after the company's stock fell. Investors misinterpreted a public offering on Wednesday by Lucid Group that raised roughly $1.75 billion and led the stock to worst daily performance in nearly 3 years, CEO Peter Rawlinson told CNBC. Rawlinson said the raise, which included a public offering of nearly 262.5 million shares of its common stock, was a timely strategic business decision to ensure the vehicle company has enough capital for ongoing operations and growth plans. It also should alleviate any potential worries that the company would need to issue a going concern disclosure regarding its operation, he said. We'd signaled that we've had a cash runaway to Q4 next year. The CEO had this to say, and I quote, "We've signaled that we had a cash runway to Q4 next year. As a NASDAQ company, we've had to avoid going concern. And a going concern is issued within 12 months of your financial runway." Rawlinson said on Monday from the company's newly opened office in suburban Detroit, so it should have been no surprise to anyone. But Wall Street analysts largely took a negative view of the move due to its timing. Several said the raise was unnecessary or came earlier than expected for the company, which had roughly $5 billion of total liquidity to the end of the third quarter. That includes more than $4 billion in cash, cash equivalent, and cash investment balance. The announced transaction also came 2 months after Lucid Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund had agreed to supply the company $1.5 billion in cash as the EV maker looks to add new models to its product lineup, such as the Gravity SUV, and later on they are working on a more affordable sedan for Lucid. Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Jonas wrote the following, and I quote, "A cap raise was slightly larger and earlier than we expected." Simply put, to be honest. But if you look at the Lucid stock, it's now at $2.49. That's remarkable. This is what the Lucid stock looks like since 2021. It's actually been quite remarkable. You know, at its highest price, I think it was $57. That's remarkable. But lately, it's really been doing terrible. I mean, looking at even early 2022, you can see the stock price falling from $25 to $19 in late 2022 to as low as $7.08. That's crazy. Now it's $2.49. But even at $2.49, the company's market cap is still around 7 billion or 7.5 billion, which I would say it's close to fair value. If it was around 5 billion, I would say that's around fair value. The reason I say that is not because of the amount of money Lucid is able to generate on an annual basis or even profits or anything like that. It is mostly due to the company's ability to create technology. If you think about Lucid as a technology company, the vehicles, the platforms, the electric motors, the battery, everything that they've created, the company itself has a value. The patterns, the intellectual property, those have value. And I think that value is probably somewhere around 5 billion at the moment. Now, it's like I always say, with Lucid, it feels like for them, fair value is probably around 4 to 5 billion US dollars in market cap. Because if the company were to be sold, you know, they have one factory in the US, they have another factory in Saudi Arabia. If you think about it, they have technically two factories, and they have a lot of, intellectual property. So, 4 to 5 billion, and that's around fair value. It's kind of like when I was investing in Rivian. I always consider Rivian for fair value is around 10 billion for me. So I waited for Rivian to fall from $90, $80, $70, $60, $50, $40, $30, all the way down to $10. Then I started buying Rivian because I was like, that's where the market cap is around 12 billion, 11 billion, 10 billion, 9 billion. I was like, that's fair value for me. So it's very So this is all very interesting for Lucid, of course. So Lucid Motors set third straight quarterly sales recorded ahead of Gravity SUV launch. Lucid Motors now officially sold more EVs this year than it did all of last year, and with 3 months to go in 2024. The milestone came after Lucid announced on Monday it delivered 2,781 vehicles in the third quarter of 2024. That's a third straight record quarter for deliveries, though Lucid is still well below the sale figure it once promised as part of its massive $4 billion reverse merger that made it a public company in 2021. The upward trend is in sale and happening at a critical moment for Lucid, which keeps leaning on the majority owners, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, to inject more cash ahead of the launch of the electric automaker Gravity SUV later this year. That'll be the company's second model, and perhaps more importantly, comes in a form of factor far more popular in its home market than North America. You got to consider this. SUVs are taking off, and the Gravity SUV looks fantastic. It's just what Americans love, so I think it will do particularly well. Lucid did not break down where it began generating these increased sales. It may offer more insight when it reports its financial results for the quarter on November 7. But the company has been stepping up a shipment for Saudi Arabia in recent quarter, where it has a facility to perform final assembly of cars that were mostly built in its main factory in Arizona. Okay, so I see the Saudi Arabian factory is mostly an assembly factory rather than a manufacturing factory. But eventually they'll have to start manufacturing in that factory as well. So, there's markets out there, the UAE, Egypt, Saudi Arabia itself. There's market out there to sell these vehicles. So I can see them, wanting to manufacture more in that region to target more buyers in that region. The company said on Monday that it only built 1,805 Air sedan in Q3, down from 2,110 it produced in the second quarter. That means it will have to build more than 3,000 EVs in the fourth quarter if it wants to hit the stated goals of making 9,000 vehicles this year, something it has only ever done once, back in fourth quarter of 2022. So that is the recent update on Lucid. It's actually very interesting the position that they're in now. So this is just a quick look at a Lucid stock. There it is, market cap 7.44 billion. Like I said, I think it might still be a little bit overvalued. So I'm waiting for it to hit like 4 billion, 5 billion in market cap before I even think about investing. I think I did own a Lucid stock at one point, but not anymore. You can see that just wouldn't be a good investment for me at the moment, but it's getting to the point where it would make sense because they're getting to the point where, they're delivering a little bit more vehicles, almost 10,000 on an annual basis. Next year, they're introducing the Gravity SUV. They'll definitely cross anywhere from 10 to 15,000, possibly even 20,000 deliveries next year because the SUV will be so much more popular and hopefully a little bit more affordable. The US market is going to love that. I think the starting price, they should make it as affordable as possible. I'm talking like 70 grand, Eventually they can produce something a bit more affordable, starting at around 50 grand SUV, and a sedan starting around 40 grand will be even more better for the company. But I'm waiting for the price to continue dropping. There's no guarantee the price will continue dropping, but I still think it's a little bit overvalued at the moment. So I'm just keeping an eye on it. But even if the price doesn't drop, I just want them to, delivering realistic numbers, eventually. But how long will that take them? Another 5 years before they can even deliver 100,000 vehicles a year or 200,000 vehicles a year? We don't know. But they're moving slow, and the longer they take to introduce the cheaper models, yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to scale this company because it's no Tesla. It's no Tesla, not yet. The vehicles might be faster than Tesla. The vehicles might have more range than Tesla, but it doesn't have the name like Tesla. So, people are still skeptical to invest in a Lucid vehicle while they could just buy a Tesla plate, so, but the market is getting more competitive. Polestar will be introducing, the Polestar 5. You got the Porsche Taycan, you got the Audi e-tron, you got a lot of these high performance electric sedans, luxury sedans, so the market will get a bit more competitive, which is why Lucid, I believe, needs to introduce these more affordable models rather sooner than later, because you can't just wait too long. They're going to be continuing to burn through cash, and that's not healthy for any business. But let me know what you think about this development. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you in our next video. Peace.